I wanted to go to an EDM concert for the first time, so what a better way to do it than to go to my most listened to genre of all time, hardcore. So that's why I decided I wanted to go to the Dominator festival in Ursel in the Netherlands. I had convinced my dad, which still surprises me. I had to go alone though. Oh well, I get more freedom to do what I want then. I had subscribed to the newsletter, which counted down to the last day to the ticket sales had begun. Since this was the first time I was going there, I had to take things as they came. There were a few things that left me confused. The website had a full line of artists, but not which day they performed. Was it Friday or Saturday? There were no timetables yet, as they called it. They had announced a pre-party, but they didn't announce anything more of it. No artist and no timeline. Was it another day? Do I have to pay tickets for that? I couldn't buy any tickets yet. It wasn't more information about it yet, so I had to wait. I would find all I needed to know. I just had to be patient. Besides their newsletter, the Facebook page also helped a lot. The Facebook page shared the map and the timelines. When I told my fellow content creator about his sleep jobs, he thought it sounded like a submissive sex event, which I told him, no, it's a music festival, trust me. I also want to thank my dad for making this all possible, because he had everything planned perfectly. A lot of dumb things can happen when you travel, which was a relief for me. He had gone out of his way to book an Airbnb and get a rental car. We even got free espresso on our trip. The car trip was about 2 hours or so. We found the nearest Airbnb to the festival. The Airbnb was as close to the festival as possible, and that place is called Ursel. All I saw there was small villages and farmlands. The nearest town was in Belgium, which was about 30 minutes away. The landscape was flat and the road just went forward. We saw wild boars and rabbits, or at least I think it was a rabbit because it ran so fast. Our Airbnb was at a farm, which doesn't surprise me now anymore because of the details I just gave you, but I didn't realize by just looking at the pictures at the Airbnb. The host insisted of meeting us, which was noble of him because it was 4 in the morning. It was a nice place though, and the host was nice. And there was mildly annoying animal noises, but they live there, I don't, so I can't do anything about that. But I swear this would have killed it for me, but I was just too hyped for it to ruin the occasion. There were mosquitoes, but there weren't just a lot, they kept coming continuously and I didn't know where they came from. They never disappeared. I actually don't know if I got any sleep that day. I was surprised I had still any blood left in me. I have been camping before, but bug spray usually fixed this, but they didn't this time. So the first day was the tirest. Second, that has to be the third day after the festival was over, but that was because I had fun at the festival, not because of the mosquitoes. Half asleep, we drove to the festival 2 hours early. Turns out, the timeline at the festival was different at the pre-party compared to the second day. While we wait, let's talk about the map. Yes, we have a map and it's bigger than anything I've been in before. But for today, let's only focus on Rostock stage because the rest of the festival is close to the camping attendees. The security was way nicer compared to the second day. I could take my bag with me, no problem. But since every other part of the festival was closed, that came with some barriers for me. They had food trucks and automatic token booths, but there were no earbuds. I don't know, man. Where I come from, tinnitus is taken very seriously. We give this shit away for free. It should be the festival's responsibility to take care of its guests. If you paid for the event, you could at least give 2 pieces of foam for your ears. Well, now I know why it only costed $100 for the event. Another problem, the lockers aren't here, they're at the main entrance. So I had to hide my bag around and the security would take it away and I had to ask to get it back. The next day I could pick choose where to go and which artists to listen to, but for today it's only one timetable.
Like old time. Traveling around with the depths of my soul.
This is the only artist I haven't heard about before, which makes sense since I weren't there since the Thunderdome years of the 90s. Looking back at it, it's a breath of fresh air. It doesn't sound like anything else at the festival. To me, he sounded better live than what the first impressions gave me. I like this 2011 refix of Get Retarded, which I assume was what put him back in the map back in the day. I was really hyped and cringed aside. It felt something magical doing haikus with people with way more experience than me. I had never seen it in real life before and I still don't get all the motions of it. Korsakoff was next, but I only have this one recording of it. I remember the MC was hitting on her, and I hope that was a joke for her sake. Sorry, I don't remember much of the details since this was several months ago. And it's a possibility that I misinterpreted or misremembered it. I might not understood what the hell was happening there.
I told you before. You can't. One more time. Man!
I remember when dubstep evolved in a bro step. The old school crowd said it sounded good on crappy speakers, but if you had a good sound system, then you truly understand how good dubstep really is. I felt that now, but with old school Gabber. I didn't understand his new darker and slower style, which didn't sound as good on an Apple AirPod, but the bass vibrated so loudly at the festival that I actually understood it at the time. It felt like an earthquake. My heart shook to the treble. I actually got a bit nauseated from it, and I can't fully blame the music because I got that minimal sleep I stayed earlier and the sun did really shine at that point. It got below 90 Fahrenheit, which is 30 Celsius to me, and I'm not the best at tolerating this warmth. I'd maybe been drinking 4 sodas and 2 bottles of water that day, and my money flew fast because of it. And I rarely go to the beach, but this time I took a swim at the beach side of the festival. Like the stage was still fully ahead of me even though I was in the water. It felt really refreshing and I was in no hurry to leave the water. I liked the Sick and Twisted album back in the day, but I haven't listened to him much since. I thought Prophecy was pretty meh, but I re-listened to his Psychopath track and it's really good. His music really hits when it hits, but I rarely hear from him. Paul Elstak is my best example of an older artist which are breaking through being only known for its older songs. I definitely like his happy hardcore style better than his darker music, and the Thunderdome heads might disagree with me on this. Dither has become a major player this year, and Creature has become one of my top 10 songs of the year. Party Life is a strong contestant too. I recently listened to his The Reckoning album and most of it is great. I hope he will return to making non-hardcore songs like Thick Dish with Carnage. Putting up tempo into other genres is untapped potential, and it can influence the rest of the industry. Angerfist is what got me into the genre as a whole with his orchestral melodic style music and his darker, slower style albums. It was kinda jarring to hear him perform with saw kicks like the rest of the artists at the festival did, which is not really his thing. I think it would be different if I saw him perform solo, but this time he performed alongside Deadly Guns. This would actually happen on Saturday, but I chose not to see him perform again, and I kind of regret that afterwards. One cool thing that I found interesting was something that showed this was just a human as you and me, because he wore his mask in the middle of the summer and he turned his back and then used a wet towel or maybe a cold towel to just get off his sweat, because I would imagine it would be very hot going in full suit, hoodie and mask in the middle of summer in the warm heat. And as also, as you can see, he inspired my character, and I'm not totally a rip off or anything. If I could make my own mask someday and have my own identity, then I would. Okay. Also recently, at the time of recording this, I'm listening to his Thunder in Paradise album, and I also bought it on CD and I like most of it. It's really good. His music has changed a lot in between those two albums. Day 2 felt different. While the first day was just a taste test, This is the day where the festival really started. The festival opened up and I could manage to see the scope of how big it really was. It's pretty crazy to me how big you can make a festival out of such an obscure genre. Like, I'm the only one I know who listened to this. Like, when I was there, it didn't feel like that anymore. First thing I did was to get a locker since I couldn't do that last time, and I was sure to not pack as much with me this time. And that was a smart move because the security was amped up really this day. I took a bottle of water with me and it got through 2 rounds of security. I think it was checked for it to be vodka or something drug related. Either they serve it with a plastic cup or they have a bottle thing on top of it to make it look like a plastic bottle, at least to close it again. Actually, I do remember plastic bottles being sold at festivals, but they removed the caps, which is not supposed to be taken off. And I do think the reason why I really can't pull that cap off is because of environmental reasons. As usual, the festival starts with another lesser known artist, but once I saw the artist's name, I remember it from somewhere. According to Spotify, I liked Avoid Failure, Discipline and To The Floor. That's actually half of his discography since it started in 2021. Elite Enemy has to be my favorite underground artist in the scene. His music is distributed by Black Reaper Records, which is made by Deadly Guns, and there's another artist there called Heavy Damage. That's only 3 artists in total, which I've never seen before. He's also been collaborating with Deadly Guns, which makes a lot of sense. He's also recently made a debut album called I Am, which I bought alongside Thunder in Paradise. It's a solid first appearance. He nailed it right from the get-go from the start. Something I'm a bit embarrassed to say was because of the gap between the recording and the editing phase, I was a bit scared that I would forget who I filmed, but it went way better than I thought because this is the only time where I was confused who this was, and it was Manifest Destiny. They're also new to the scene, and I also like their songs Music Making Motherfucker and Chicken Dinner, and they're also collaborated with Barber and Unproven with Roll Up. That song, by the way, became my top song of last year. In my opinion, their music is a mix between uptempo and Frenchcore, and the kicks is repeated way more than others. Unproven. I don't know why it's called that. Him alongside Remzcore and Glad Pauling has become my 3 most listened to artists this year. And also that's not counting artists that I've been listening to for years at this point. He uses a blend of pop music and uptempo and is consistently not on the heavier side. It reminds me a bit of happy hardcore, and he is good at making me feel hyped when I listen to his music. That's also a part of his personality. He was the most ecstatic artist at the festival. Remzcore started as a Frenchcore artist, but later he put uptempo and hardcore elements into his music. Sweater Weather was my most listened to song of the last year, and I also liked Wicked and Wild. The drop to Take Me High sounded like an explosion the first time I heard it. I also like this blend of chiptunes in his song Illuminate. His music is a good blend of the melodic side and the heavier side. Like his music still have good melodies, but also good kicks at the same time, and the kicks doesn't really take over the whole song and pushes the melody aside like some artists do, in my opinion. One problem that I do have with his music, however, is that he has around a handful of original songs and then he makes continuations of those said songs. His new songs doesn't feel unique, like I've heard that kind of song before. Like I haven't felt that with any other artist. It's not like with Deadly Guns that he has heavy metal elements in his music. His music still doesn't feel like it's the same song. It isn't built the same. It's still this genre and this style, but he makes sure that not all the songs sounds the same. And he also doesn't have this style in every single song he makes. If you're not a big metalhead and just want regular hardcore, he does that too.
Motherfucking animals!
Broken Minds has been a mainstay of Masters of Hardcore for years, which I exclusively listened to at the start. I like Pogna's, Wanderer and Victor song because of its Celtic folk elements, though I still feel like they kinda ripped off Dr. Peacock's Trip to Valhalla. That might be because of Dither, which collaborated on 2 of the 3 songs I just mentioned, but I don't have a lot of knowledge on that artist in general, so I don't have a lot of basis on that claim. Boom Bass Boom and Wild Animals are about heavy drops, Eternal Universe is more melodic, and King Connie is more comedic. They also made an awesome raw style song called Sooko. If you noticed it by the footage, I did like their newest album Creepy Terror Show, but I don't remember their discography that much, and I do feel they lack some sort of identity, but they can still make some great songs from time to time.
Be prepared for some drama, motherfuckers, no patience. We got an address for your navigation. Some will say it's the final destination. Hometown feeling, but we all on vacation. Rise for episode! It's a rush! Let's go! Step into the ground to connect ourselves. You can make me evil, make me cool, but the harder we push, the stronger the pull. Once again, it's up, Dominator!
It was refreshing to find a new subgenre called raw style, which is the midpoint between hardstyle and hardcore. By having this slower tempo, you can hear the kicks evolve more. It reminds me more of the hardstyle that I used to know. I've been falling off listening to hardstyle for the past few years after I found out about hardcore, and when I went back to it recently, it wasn't as hard hitting as it used to be, and the hardstyle of today has changed a lot since. The kicks are just lacking. There aren't that many kicks until the very end. It felt like I've been falling off for too long because it doesn't sound like what it used to anymore. He's one of the bigger artists which just have been flying over my radar for the past few years, but I did find out I had been listening to Kicks Von Stahl at some point.
I'm living
Unproven was the biggest performer, but Lil Texas had the wildest crowd. There were two different instances of someone sitting on top of each other's shoulder, and I filmed one of them. And there were a girl that and a guy filming that in front of me. There were also a flag waver with the Texas flag. That was cool. And Lil Texas showed an unreleased track, and by of this recording, which is half a year later, it's still not released. So by what is shown is probably all of it, because it isn't any longer in his YouTube shorts. Later on, I found out he made a song called Starships, which is very similar, and maybe that's what it turned out to be in the end. But that's all just speculation, so take what you want of it. I've been listening to his music ever since I came to the scene, so that was one of my high points of the whole festival, to see him perform live. I couldn't have imagined it, but Nosferatu introduced me to the hardcore genre as a whole. His song Kill Switch he made with Fury blew me away, and I never went back. I really like this newest album called Demonic Playgrounds, and my favorite song of the whole album is called Crazy. It's definitely not the most popular song on the album, but it's definitely my favorite. His music are more melodic, but he has made a lot of more bass and kick oriented songs as well. Two of my recommendations for his more melodic songs are his Cosmic Conquest Anthem, as well as Kill Switch, which I mentioned earlier. And also, if you wonder what the very first song I heard from him, it was Acid Rain Nosferatu and Meccano Twins remix. DJ Anime made this year's Anthem, so of course he's gonna perform with it, and it's fine. I didn't like it at first, I re-listened to it and it's just fine, but it can't compare with the Masters of Hardcore Cosmic Conquest Anthem earlier this year. Her music in general is heavier and it's more focused on the different kicks throughout the song, with occasional melodies in between. I've heard this style being called mainstream hardcore, but I can't really agree with the title at all. What introduced me to her music was her Aftermath album, which I also bought at random, and her newest Fourth Dimensional album is also pretty good, but she promoted it on the festival itself, which she was the only one who did that. And she kind of blatantly promoted it, which is not really something I appreciate, but it worked for me at least. So it worked, and I did like about half the songs on the album, which is good enough. Did that sound a bit harsh, maybe? Yeah, there's a bunch of jumping, Dune Buggies and Motorcross, and I can already feel the testosterone talking about it. The event organizers clearly knew what they were doing with cosplaying and themed events and everything around it. But it's a good idea to have something for everyone if you're in a group and not everyone's focused on music and cares about the artist as much as you do. So throughout this video, we've been to the main stage, the hardcore stage, the extreme hardcore stage, the Frenchcore stage, and the raw style stage, but we haven't checked out the Terrorcore stage yet, so that's where we're heading now. And what artist is performing? Fucking Doormouse. Who's Doormouse? After the festival, I checked out his music on streaming platforms and it doesn't sound anything like it was live. It's more ambient breakcore than anything, which confuses me why he was even there. And his music selection fit the festival perfectly at least. So that's good. And he's really tall, or at least it looked like he was enormous by the stage he was on. And the atmosphere was completely different. There were a lot of smoking and angry bald guys, and I was just raising my fist like everybody does at the festival, but they looked at me weird like it was something you weren't supposed to do. So I don't know what I was really supposed to do there other than just stand there, I guess. And it started to rain. A lot. So the audience was just cramming each other more and more under the tent to avoid the rain. And I wasn't there from the start, so I was just outside of there getting poured over. And then eventually I got gradually more and more under the tent. And again I had to cram myself more and more under the tent once people started to leave to get a beer or something. Surprisingly, Doormouse's performance became one of the highlights of the festival for me. The rain was still going at full stop, but the sun started to go down, revealing the awesome light show they had. Major Conspiracy wasn't on the list of artists that I had to see, but I did like their song Cocaine Last and their last drop going off beat, and I thought it was very unique. Other than that, I liked their collaborative songs like Dwash Dur Het Dak and Klapp Dur Je Botten. After Barber started his Barbaric Records label, I started to listen to his music a lot more from that point. I had already seen him perform with the rest of the crew at the pre-party, but from this point on, I wanted to get to the main stage and stay there for the rest of the day. So I got to see him perform again, with Spitnoise this time. I actually got a bit annoyed though, because they replaced every kick with a peep kick or a saw kick, even though the original kicks were a lot better sometimes. But I do get it. At a live setting, you want less melodies and you want more of a consistent kick so everybody can jam to. So I get that to some extent. But there's a balance, and I think they broke that balance quite a bit. Why? Just imagine having a 5-second melody and then go through like that. And I do have one example. They played Highlight Noise by NSD and they replaced the kick with their own kick, and it just ruined the song for me, and I got a bit annoyed at that. But maybe it was just because it was at the end of the festival and I was tired. Anyone could be, but I still feel like if I asked anyone else, or at least someone watching the video, or just someone in the community, maybe they could have agreed with me on this. My main point of this statement though is that I've heard this a lot through the festival, and every artist used this up-tempo kick. But for Barber and Spitnoise, they took a song and replaced like every kick with this same kick, and that's overstaying its welcome, and it's too much, and it's not any original. It doesn't feel like it's any effort put into this. They are good artists, but this performance was annoying. And right after it, in this lineup, there were Partyraiser and Dr. Peacock, and it felt like they toned it down considerably, like they knew what happened and they performed perfectly. They had it, they used it, but they used it in enough quantity to make it okay and to make it fresh. It's like they knew what happened and fixed it right after. I actually looked this up on Reddit, good source I know, and this was the most common complaint, though they didn't point out Barber and Spitnoise specifically, but the whole festival. And I like up-tempo kicks, and I don't think it ruined the genre as a whole, but it can overstay its welcome, and this was the one time that I felt like it did.
It's called ecstasy.
Peacock is safe! Fuck is this safe!
Let's do this together. Let me see those hands. Put them up. Put them up. In the back, in the front, the side to side. Put them up, everybody. Let's do this. Show some respect for my big friend, Dr. Ni so säker!
La joie et la gaieté, que l'amour soit fécond.
Other than Angerfist, Dr. Peacock is one of the artists that I just always follow. He's definitely the best Frenchcore artist and he succeeded way past the subgenre as a whole. Like he didn't even perform at the Frenchcore stage because he's probably the biggest hardcore artist of all time. He makes melodic Frenchcore with orchestras, a singer, and real instruments. He was disappointed that he didn't have this at the festival, but he did share the stage with another artist, Partyraiser. Partyraiser is the solar opposite of Dr. Peacock, being very little melodic with a focus on speaker vibrating tracks. He's the type of artist which actually keeps the pop music that I get extremely tired of. He makes a kind of rebel against the trashy side of pop. For me, this is the perfect type of hardcore that you play just to fuck with people. Like I played Roll the Bass at a club once and the audience got upset as soon as the bass kicked in, kind of like a Rickroll. Like I estimated, once they started playing, more people came. If I wanted a good view after that, I couldn't leave my place. In hindsight, I should have gotten my stuff from the locker because I couldn't go back after that, and once the festival was over, everybody had to go in the same row to the exit. I thought originally I could go out the entrance and re-enter to get my stuff back, but they had closed it off. So I had to go back to the main stage and around the crowd. The event organizers wanted probably the whole crowd to leave through entrance B because they had closed off entrance A. So I walked through the crowd going the opposite side and hauled myself to the left and walked forward back to the lockers once the light show had ended. I assume that they think I'm also Dutch because I'm Caucasian, so normally I would ask what they were saying and translate it if it was any important. No, of course they didn't ask that guy. So finally I could get my stuff back and follow the crowd. And half an hour for 5 miles per hour. So that's the event. I was happy and satisfied. And also really tired. I was hakuing all day and my step counter counted over 30,000 steps. That's twice as much as I did on Friday. Hardcore has always felt like an exclusive me thing. And it felt like it's been a very specific type of community who listens to this. But as soon as I saw the cars drive by, blasting the speakers and entering the festival and see all these people, it felt surreal to me. Before this, I had barely heard anyone play it and barely heard anyone talk about it. Earlier in the year, I've been to a local hardstyle festival and it felt small like I thought it would be. But then I could only imagine going to the biggest festival in the scene and it felt like such a drastic change. So to other people that doesn't understand this genre or doesn't know much about it, maybe this can show you how big it can really be in a small secluded area as this. Before going to the airport in Amsterdam, I checked out some vinyl stores as well as some retro and modern game stores. We also went to the Philips Museum. My mistake? And I will maybe piss off some people, but I thought Philips was a German company. I also took with me some cheese, but I got stopped at the airport. Luckily, it didn't get taken away, it just got put in a Ziploc bag and then I was good after that. Apparently, the security guard didn't know Holland was famous for its cheese, which I found interesting. I don't think I got to fully experience what the Netherlands had to offer. We weren't there for a long time, we got stuck in a traffic jam, and after that I went on my own. But it's okay for me because it wasn't the main point of the trip after all. There were 2 days of the festival and then 2 days around that, which was more like an afterthought. I also needed time to breathe. But yeah, that was Dominator, and I very much recommend it to anyone, and I would totally get back there someday. But there's also a lot of other festivals in the scene that I'm interested in checking out, like Masters of Hardcore, Thunderdome, Snake Pit, The Need for Speed, Decibel, A Nightmare in Rotterdam, and Carnival Festival. But there were a lot of artists I missed out on, so there's always something new to see, even though you've been to the same event before. So I hope I convinced you to sign up for Dominator 2024, and I hope this video doesn't get copyright claim. Bye.